I'm really playing more on the dark side of his struggles. I'm really, really honing in on that. It's really something that I feel quite passionate about. I think we shouldn't shy away from, like, it's an ugly story. Yeah. There are sadness to this story, but also it is ugly. I mean, addiction is ugly, but at the same time, he embraces ugliness. That was his saying. So we have to embrace it. We have to tell that story. It has to be told in that way because we wouldn't be doing it justice.
Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. House of McQueen, the new play by Dara Cloud, tells the story of iconic fashion designer Alexander McQueen. The show has been extended now through November 2nd, and they found their new Alexander, West End star Liam Tamne, who begins performances on October 2nd. And I caught up with Liam here in the stunning Alexander McQueen exhibit at the Mansion at Hudson Yards. I am thrilled to be sitting with you here in the Alexander McQueen exhibit.
Yeah, it's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like unreal, like all this incredible, I call them artwork, because it's just, I mean, the fact that you get to sit and actually, or stand, we're sitting, but to actually get right up close. Obviously you're not allowed to touch it, but it is pretty unbelievable. But the first time I watched the show is when they offered me, they said, oh, do you want to come and see it before I officially signed? And I came and watched, but I walked around here, and this kind of was like the selling point for me, because I just think the fact that you don't get this in many shows, you don't get the opportunity to be so immersed and invested. Like, we're obviously now getting more immersive theatre, but this is just like incredible to come and witness all of this, be it at the start of the show or in the interval, and then whatever we call it, interval in the UK, you call it intermission. But yeah, then coming here, and it's amazing.
This is stunning, just to walk in here.
Yeah.
And then to see the play.
Yeah.
And then to see his work so close.
Yeah.
And they are art pieces.
They are. The detail is unbelievable. Yeah. But also the silhouettes, the shapes, the things that he did, like the dress back there, it's just the cuts of it. And it's so reminiscent, I think, of his mental state of mind and what he went through and where he was at. And people can call it vulgar sometimes, or aggressive, or just very, I look at it as being quite progressive and quite, like, I love the phrase that he says, he wanted to embrace ugliness. Like, that to me is like, wow, like, do you know what I mean? Not a thing of turning our nose up at it. I mean, the word ugly, you instantly have a thought of what that is, an emotion ejected into you. And he was like, no, we should, like, invest in that feeling, and what is that? Let's explore that. It's quite powerful, really.
Yeah. So you're about to make your debut here as Alexander McQueen.
Yeah.
Excited?
A bit of everything. It's one of those things where I'm like, it's like 2 weeks of rehearsal on an epic play. Like, I watched it and I kind of was just in awe of the cast and the company and what they were doing, and also Luke. Like, Luke, funny enough, is friends with my husband, so it's interesting. And then he didn't know when we were watching that we were watching it, sort of eyeing it up, going, oh, okay, this is what he's going to be doing next. So it's kind of interesting. And then I was sort of like, I'm in this place where I'm like, I'm so excited, but I'm also petrified because he doesn't leave the stage. It's one of those moments where you have like 2 moments where you leave the stage. So normally when I've done something like this, like I did a show at the National Theatre in London where I played Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights. And I would go off, but it was like a 3-hour play, and I'd go off and I'd just check the bits in my script, go. Like, do you know what I mean? With this, it's like, no, you don't get those moments. So it's also exciting and exhilarating, but it's quite daunting.
Sometimes you have to say, this is scary, but I want to do this.
Yeah, I believe it's like stepping into your fear helps you create greatness.
Okay, how well did you know McQueen before this?
Yeah, I didn't know McQueen like I now know McQueen, but obviously he's integral to British culture, in fashion, but also in terms of a timeline. He was quite poignant in terms of a lot of the silhouettes, the sort of statements, political statements made. And also as a gay man, he was very at the forefront and pushing a lot of the things. I mean, in a lot of the interviews that he did, I always feel like we have something to say when we're interviewed, but he very much would approach the space, I have a political statement to make. And I thought that was quite brave of him, really. I kind of value him in more ways than I thought when I relate to him in his childhood. Similar sort of circumstances, similar sort of upbringing, similar sort of environments. Not to the same level, but there are very similarities in terms of like disparity between class and wealth and being different. Like, so there are a lot of sort of things that I find quite powerful, and that I get to explore that in a weird way. It's like therapy, but also incredible that actually I get to tell this man, I call him a genius, really, story.
Because I love you got your hair cut
like
last week, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's already grown already. I mean, I normally have like thick, black, curly hair. And like it was literally, let's get it done. I'm going to get the eyebrow done because he had a slit on his eyebrow. So I'm going to get all of that done. This will always be a 1. So right now it's probably going into a 2.
So before you open, you're going to have a 1 done again.
Yeah, 1 done again.
Was it sort of like cathartic, like I'm getting closer now? Yeah,
definitely. And it also, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like he talks about in his work, like about the sort of silhouettes and the sort of being an armor for women, and like this is what he did, like dressing them in violence was to make them feel strong. It was like statements that he made, and it's kind of interesting that we as a society, we sort of look at people and we form an idea of who they are and what they're wearing, or what, even down to their dialect, their voice. And I just love the fact that he was breaking those boundaries. And like for me, it's the same thing. Like my hair was always a bit of a statement. Like people are like, oh, I love your hair. You've got really beautiful, like dark curly hair. And then to take it off and really immerse myself into this man is sort of, in a weird way, it sort of exposes you, and you have to use the tools and not hide behind certain things. And I kind of value that. I mean, even what he wore as an individual is quite staple, like dress pieces. Like he'd wear jeans with brown shoes and a blue Ralph Lauren shirt with a baggy t-shirt. They're just staple, but it was like outfits, but it was never about him. It was always about what he created. But in this play in particular, we're showing you what he created, but we're actually going through the mind of his life, childhood through to adult, through to the end, sadly, the end of his life.
I know this is like your first week, right?
Yeah, first week.
I mean, the set out there, it's so visceral and clean and fashion. And so what's rehearsal's been like? Yeah,
it's been interesting. So I've been on the stage a few times. So obviously they have incredible like covers, like understudies that have been incredible stepping in with me, because your union over here is so strong. There is a certain amount of time that people can rehearse. So I've had like them coming in with me, which has been incredible. So it's great. Tomorrow's my first day in terms of with the automation, the sound. So that's going to be quite an exciting thing. So it's been a lot of in the rehearsal space, on the stage, but pretty bare. But I've been watching the show quite a bit because I'm quite a visualist. So if I see things, it really helps me. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really, really like exciting.
So what is it like going into a show with a company that's already up and running?
Yeah.
And you're going in as the lead.
Yeah, I know.
Who never leaves the stage.
Who never leaves the stage. It's so interesting. I mean, it's always one of those things where I felt being a part of something new, you get to create with your company members. You also get to build a sort of like rapport and the sort of whole sort of atmosphere of being a family. That's what I believe theatre truly is. It's like you're a family, whether that's on the road touring or on Broadway or in the West End, whatever it is. You create this sort of like unique group of people that live in that moment of time.
And you do it together.
And you do it together.
Yeah.
And it's quite special. And like, I always try and get involved. So if I ever go in and I'm taking over from someone, I will always, even though I might not be watching the show, I will go and sit with them. I'll be at their fight calls, get to know them. And I think it's quite important because the more like open and relaxed you are with someone, and that sort of, you can be as vulnerable in a space where you're very exposed and fragile, and you know that you're having conversations and meaningful, you create this thing of this sort of back and forth of holding each other whenever you need to be held on stage. And I think it's quite important, and particularly for a leading man, I think it's quite important to be able to lead by example. And definitely that's always been my sort of ethos of trying to be as good as I can to try and put on the best that I can really for the show. But these guys are been insanely supportive. Even running lines when they shouldn't with me, they've just done everything they can. So, which is a blessing, really. It's a joy to be a part of this company.
So finally, what are you looking forward to the most about your run and that first performance on stage here?
Yeah, I always say to myself, and I always say, because whenever I go and like do a masterclass, I always say, just get through it, A to B. That's your first performance, because you're going to have adrenaline, nerves, all of that sort of thing. But I like to be over-prepared. So I'm a one that's like, I enjoy rehearsals, I will over-prepare. Because I think it's just good that you then are in a place that if you know the intention of the scene or where it needs to go, you can sort of work your way around it. Do you know what I mean? If I was to drop a line or anything, but I don't think I will. I think I'm manifesting it's all going to be good. But I'm really excited to actually, for the audiences really, to see my version of Lee, of Alexander McQueen, like to actually see what I've created with Sam and Sophie and with this company. And I'm really playing more on the dark side of his struggles. I'm really honing in on that. It's really something that I feel quite passionate about. I think we shouldn't shy away from, like, it's an ugly story. Yeah. There are sadness to this story, but also it is ugly. I mean, addiction is ugly, but at the same time, he embraces ugliness. That was his saying. So we have to embrace it. We have to tell that story. It has to be told in that way because we wouldn't be doing it justice for him. He's like a genius. And as a fellow Brit, I want to make sure it's told in the true lens, in the true form. Like, he was a genius, like an incredible mind, a mastermind for fashion.
Look what he's left behind us.
Yeah, it's like the fact that we get to do this. He's left a legacy that will forever move people. Yeah. And I want that to be told within the performance as well.